Hi, babes. Welcome back to a new episode of the 20 something diaries. I know I haven't recorded a new episode in like over a month, and I'm going to explain to you why. But we're back with a new episode, and I'm excited to be here. So, we're still in the same spot. It's a bit of a different setup. Still kind of working it out. I don't know. I thought I would just move the camera a bit closer because I like when there's just nothing going on in the background. Right now, I'm sitting in front of my window with my curtains, and it's kind of just like super white and like bright, and I kind of love it. I have no idea if the camera quality is gonna be good, but we're just gonna go with it. I also don't know if this is too bright or if I should lower it just one bit. And I think that's actually too dark, is it? I think this is better. Hi guys, so at first I hadn't recorded an episode because I was kind of like working on some things, and then I ended up getting COVID and I was very sick, and now we're here. Like, it's been a few weeks. I have a bald spot on my head since I've had COVID, so I will be wearing a hat for who knows how long. I'm gonna have to get a few different ones to rotate because I can't wear the same one every single day. But today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I do not have a candle to light. I actually burned through all my candles, so unfortunately I don't have one. But we are going to do some affirmations before we get into the topic of this episode. Let's do this. I've actually had this prepared for a while. I'm thankful for... Okay, let's try that again. I'm thankful for myself for staying strong. I'm thankful that I make my mental health a priority. I'm thankful for my mind, my body, my family, my friends, my heart, my strength, my bravery. I love myself. Period. My nose is itchy, but I have makeup on and I can't scratch it. Oh, okay. If you have been watching my vlogs for a while, I have talked about the fact that I struggle with PMDD, my menstruation, my cycle, my mental health, basically everything. It's like a package deal with me. And I got a few listen to Lisa. Okay, let's say that again. I got a few listen to Lisa sent in asking me about this. And the one that I specifically saved for this episode says, how to continue being consistent after... Okay, why can I not fucking read? I already tried to record this yesterday and it didn't go too well, so this is my second time trying it. How to continue being consistent after getting your period. And she said, I know TMI. Sorry, girl, that is not TMI. You can ask me anything. I just wanted to talk a little bit about PMDD, birth control, cycle syncing, antidepressants, which is what I'm on right now. And, kind of dive into like self-care, mental health, and everything that kind of like helps me. Oh, shit, I moved the camera. Helps me get through this. So, where do we even start? Let me just like get comfortable. I'm going to have a sip of water. ASMR. Okay, so PMDD. Should I even start with PMDD? I don't know. Like, I feel like I should start with just like my whole journey with my period, maybe. So, I got my period for the first time when I just turned 11, like maybe like not even a month. Like, I literally just turned 11. And I think the first time I ended up getting on birth control, I was like 13 or 14. I ended up getting on the pill because I was bleeding so much, and like my periods were super long, very painful. I became very anemic. Like, I had to take like iron supplement. I had to start taking like iron supplements. So at the time, the solution was getting on the pill. So basically, I was on the pill for a few years, got off of it. I've tried copper IUD, which was like really awful for me. I've been on the pill a second time as well. I think that was before I actually got my IUD. I went back on the pill, but I just noticed that there were certain things that came along with the pill for me. Like, I feel like it made my binge eating a lot. Like, I've struggled with an eating disorder throughout, basically from like my teens up until like my early 20s, and I feel like getting on the pill would make my binge eating like even worse because I had so many cravings. So I hated that. And then on top of it, it just really fucked with my mental. Like it made me super depressed and like I was just not feeling good at the time. The only like thing I liked about it was that it made my boobs bigger. But then when I got off of it, like I lost a bunch of weight again and then my boobs like went down in their size and after I got a boob job. But anyways, I mean, copper IUD was just not working for me. It was really painful, kind of traumatic. I ended up getting it taken out after a few months, and ever since then, which that was, when was that? 2021. That's ever since then, I have been birth control free. I don't take anything. And so my cycle is very consistent. It's like, honestly, I don't have a crazy cycle at all. It's like usually like 28 days. Like I'm pretty good with that. But I started realizing, especially last year, that like 2 weeks out of the month, I would just feel so miserable, like to the point where like it was just really, really bad. Like my depressive thoughts just went to like an extreme, especially in those 2 weeks, to a point where I feel like I kind of like lose control over myself and like I do not feel like myself in that period. Like I just it's almost kind of like an outer body experience, but also not really. Like it's such a confusing thing to explain, and I think there's definitely other videos out there of like actual professionals who can explain it a little bit better of like what PMDD actually is. I don't feel like I'm good at explaining that. But basically, I've started noticing that this was something that was like reoccurring and that it would kind of like go away in a sense. Like it would like be less hard for me to deal with, basically, like the symptoms. And I've dealt with like depression and anxiety and just a bunch of different mental health stuff since my like early teens. So in a way, it was also kind of like I thought I was just becoming depressed again. Like I wasn't sure if it was like I wasn't sure if it was something going on in my life that was like making me depressed or if it was my hormones. Like it was a very confusing time until I started to research it and I started to talk about it with people and I started to learn about PMDD. And it's not necessarily like a like when you go to the at least for me, when I went to the doctor, it wasn't necessarily something that they know is like a thing, if that makes sense. Like I feel like they will like talk about PMS, but like PMDD is still something that's fairly maybe new or like I don't know, not really sure what the terminology for that would be. But the first time I went to the doctor, it was like this male doctor that I had for a while, but I didn't really feel like he was taking me serious. So I did ask him to have me go to a gynecologist. I ended up going to a gynecologist who just completely understood me and was like able to kind of explain when it comes to like the hormone thing and everything, like how your estrogen, I'm pretty sure estrogen is really low after you ovulate. And basically from the time that you have ovulated up until you get your period, that's kind of like the luteal phase. And I'll get a little bit more into cycle syncing in a second, but it kind of also falls back on that. But anyways, in this phase, my estrogen is really low and it just, the way this makes me feel is just so undescribable. Like there's been so many moments that I wanted to like give up because I was like, I feel like I will just never be able to move on from this. Like I'm just going to struggle with this every single month because as soon as I get my period, like those first few days, like I would start to feel better slowly. And this was before I was on any like medication or anything. So I've really, really felt it every single month. Like I maybe had like a little over a week that I would feel like myself and I would feel energized. I would just like basically be me. And then as soon as my ovulation had hit, like basically right after, like I just crumbled, basically. That's like the easiest way to explain it. And so, okay, I went to the gynecologist. She suggested that I would start taking antidepressants, like a low dose, in those 2 weeks. So I started doing that and I tried it for a few months and I was on quite a low dose. And I noticed that it was kind of taking the edge off a little bit, but it wasn't doing exactly enough for me. And I was like talking to my mom about it. And then we were like, let's see if I take a bit of a higher dose and I also don't stop taking it. Like I was thinking, because I've dealt with mental health for so, like my mental health and depression and anxiety for so long, and I've never actually been on medication for it. My mom and I were like, I kind of want to just see what it's like if I take this every day, because I don't think it's only coming from my hormones. Like I think in general, like I really just need like an antidepressant to be able to fucking get through life. So even if you're not sure if you have PMDD, but if you are still struggling with this, like, not to say that medication works for everyone, but in my case, like, I did not want to get back on the pill. So the only option I really had was to like try the antidepressants. And now it's been, I think I'm about to go into my second month of taking my antidepressants every single day. I'm trying to be really on top of it and not miss any days, because that happened actually not too long ago where I forgot to take them and I literally had the worst breakdown ever. It was really bad. Just to kind of get back to my point, what has been working for me currently is taking antidepressants, and I am taking, I think it's Prozac. Flexitine is the one that I'm on. And yeah, actually today I like ordered new meds because I was like, I'm about to run out. And even though I was supposed to only take it for 2 weeks out of a month, I started to realize that it just works so good for me if I take it every single day. So that's what I've been doing. And yeah, that's kind of been like what has been working for me. Even, and I'm not saying that as in like, oh my God, I'm fucking healed, like I don't struggle with PMDD anymore, because I do. But like my period is supposed to come like any moment now, so I'm already kind of in that phase where I'm feeling better. But getting through my like luteal, however you pronounce it, getting through that phase, which again is kind of from when you have your ovulation up until your period, getting through that has just been so much easier on my antidepressants. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be like at least a solution for now. Like I'm not sure like how long I would want to be on this, but I just did not want to go on birth control. Like I didn't want to start taking the pill because I felt like it was just going to do more bad than good. And even though I would love to just be able to like skip out on my periods every month because I'm so over it, but so I've started taking antidepressants. And then something I'm also getting more into every single month is cycle syncing. I think all of you have probably heard about this already. I think recently it's just been something that women have been talking about more and really like educating themselves on. And cycle syncing basically is like syncing your life and the things that you do to your cycle. So there's different parts of your cycle where you maybe will have more or less energy. And again, if you want to know more about cycle syncing, you can look this up. If you want, maybe I can do like a more, I can do a more in-depth episode on it maybe, if I like really look up my sources and stuff so that I can give you like facts, because I didn't do that right now. But with cycle syncing, you're basically just kind of like adjusting your lifestyle and the things that you do on a daily basis to your cycle, because as women, we have like a monthly cycle, right? Like 4 weeks. For some people, it's like almost 5, but either way, we have a monthly cycle. And so you're going to feel different in parts of that cycle, whether you like it or not. And I'm sure for everyone's going to be a little bit different, but in general, there are certain like parts of your cycle where you just don't have as much energy, and maybe you need to like do some more inner work or whatever. So I've been trying to like work on that as well, but I'm really not like an expert at it just yet. Like I feel like I could do better. But I think cycle syncing is a nice way to also just give yourself some grace and like, I don't know, because I always feel very guilty when like I want to like rest, for instance. And I feel like cycle syncing kind of like keeps me in check with that as well. If it's like, okay, my period is literally about to hit, like it's not a weird thing that I feel like resting now, and I kind of like am able to, I don't know, give that like a reason for myself. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like if you guys are like that, you will probably get what I'm saying. Just to kind of help with that feeling of maybe, guilt or whatever. I think cycle syncing is nice because I really get to know my body and like adjust the things that I'm doing to like what my body can handle. And yeah, it's just a nice thing. there was this thing that I saved. I don't remember exactly what I wanted to say about this, but it's about going through it and growing through it. So when you're going through something, you're just thinking like, why is this happening? You know, why me? And if you're growing through something, you're more so asking yourself, what is this teaching me? And I feel like recently that's something I've been really trying to like just put my focus on. If it's like something like I failed at something or something went wrong, it's not like why, but like what is this teaching me? You know what I mean? And I think if you try and ask yourself that question about a lot of the things that maybe aren't going the way you wanted to or something like that, I think that really can help a lot. Whether you just ask yourself and think about it in your head or you do a journal entry on it, like whatever works for you. I think looking at it from a perspective of like, what is this teaching me instead of why is this happening to me? Why am I failing? Why am I a loser? Like, I've also really noticed that with my PMDD, like one of the first things I start slacking on when oh shit, my mic just okay. One of the first things I start slacking on usually is like my self-care, and that makes my mental even worse. So I feel like recently I've been really trying to put in the work and the time and effort for myself to take care of me, like really like feel like I deserve that as well. And like I don't know, a lot of times I'll be like, oh, I'll do that like another time, or I'll make time for someone else instead of like doing something to take care of me. And I think self-care is just really important, even though sometimes it might feel like a luxury, or it feels like I don't know, sometimes I don't know if I would say like, oh, I don't deserve it, but like sometimes if maybe I have like a lot of work to do, like I would prioritize getting the work done instead of like taking care of me, which I think even though that's like such a like, oh my god, hustle like mindset, it's not really like good and healthy for you. So I've been trying to really teach myself that I am allowed to take care of myself and feel good about that, and like want to take care of myself. And taking care of yourself is can be in a lot of different ways, you know, and I try to focus on every little bit of my life that is self-care to me, whether that's doing my skincare or like going out and grabbing lunch with a friend, or just having coffee with my mom, or a quick FaceTime call with a friend. And then also like having routines and like planning my weeks. It's also like you want to find a balance in it, because some weeks I really want to be on top of it, and then some weeks I'm like I kind of just want to have a to-do list, but I don't want to be too tied down to like a schedule, because in a way sometimes I feel like it also just kind of holds me back, because if I don't do something in like a certain period of time, I kind of feel like I filled my day, and I feel like it just adds like negativity that's not necessary. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm literally just starting to ramble. But if you want to know a little bit more about how routines and planning help me, I talked about that in the last episode. And I think that's very beneficial, but also like it's not something that you have to necessarily do every single day. And I also don't think every single day should be the exact same. I think it's good to have different little routines and things that you can switch around for different days, and like not have it become super repetitive, because I think that can also be very demotivating. Yeah, so kind of to answer, like to go back and answer that first question of like how to continue being consistent after getting your period, it's like, what I mean, my question would be like, what is the consistency that you're looking for? Because you're not going to be able to like put in the same work every single day and like have the same day like every day. Like, does that make sense? Like, after your period, your body needs some time to like recover, and then you're going to get your energy back, but then your body is going to get ready again to ovulate. So it's like, don't see it as like you have to like get back to your consistency. It's more so like you're moving out of a different phase and you're going back, you're moving into like a new, more energized phase. And then as soon as you move out of that, you're going to get ready again for your ovulation. You're settling down a bit more. You're maybe doing less intense workouts. Like, I think cycle syncing, for the girl that sent this in, I think cycle syncing would be a really great option for you to look into, just because you won't have to feel like you're not being consistent, because you I don't know, like you can try, but it's just so extremely hard to do the exact same things you do like a few days before ovulation compared to like the day you get your period. Like your body is just so different in those two moments that you can't really compare it, and like you can't be the exact same on both days. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But yeah, I would say look into cycle syncing because I think it can give you a lot more clarity on how your body works and like getting to know yourself, and then also not feeling that guilt of like, oh, I was a bum or lazy because I got my period. Like that's not what you are. And like just because you had those rest days because of your period doesn't mean you're not consistent anymore. It just means you had your period and now you're moving into I think you're moving into spring, and then summer is like your ovulation, and then fall is like after, like, I think they like divide it into like seasons. But yeah, I think in general a lot more women struggle with PMDD and like just hormonal imbalance or like hormonal mental health issues in general. And aside from that, there's so many other factors. Like I said, I've struggled with depression and anxiety since I was an early teen. So I think that as you get older, a lot can change, but also we are just learning so much more about our bodies now than maybe like 10 years ago. And like instead of like right away jumping to birth control, especially if your doctor is like suggesting that, I would say definitely look into some other options and see in what ways you can make life a bit easier. And also depending on how severe your PMDD is, like if you genuinely feel like it is making life hard every single month and you cannot function and do like the things you need to do properly, please go to your doctor and make sure that they can start helping you out with at least something, whether that is birth control, antidepressants, or maybe you start doing therapy or something else that works for you. But we all deserve to feel good. We all deserve to be happy. I think that if you do suffer from PMDD, like the way that you feel is so undescribable, and I really do not wish that upon anyone because it's the most frustrating. Well, it's not the most frustrating thing ever. I don't want to pretend like it's like this awful illness, but like it is just really fucking hard to deal with, and it's something that no one can really see. Like someone can't see you having PMDD. It's so like internal, and it's almost kind of like you're like in this prison in your head. Like it's really fucking hard to deal with. So if you do, I'm sending you love. I can relate, and I don't want you to ever feel alone. We're all going to get through this. Don't give up, and definitely make sure to like reach out for help. Continue talking and like communicating with your loved ones and the people that care about you and are there for you so that you don't have to feel like you're going through it by yourself. My mom knows all about my PMDD now, and I feel like she's been able to she's been able to see it, to be honest. Like she's been able to experience the changes I go through every single month, and like the really bad mood swings I had before I got on my antidepressants. Like the mood swings were insane. Like I could go from 1 minute literally wanting to like off myself to like, a few hours later I'm like fine again. Like it was really, really crazy. And yeah, I think it's important to at least have one person that you are telling this about and opening up so that they can also kind of track your behavior and be able to maybe also reassure you that they are also noticing it. Because for a while I thought I was kind of crazy and like I wasn't sure if this was really happening. But then like having my mom notice it and be able to reassure me like, yes, like this is reality, like this is happening. It's kind of a nice feeling just to know that people take you seriously. So yeah, I think I'm just going to wrap it up there and end it on that. It's been nice to sit down and actually record this again after over a month of not doing it. I'm feeling a lot better now that I've recovered from COVID, and I'm excited to get back on track. I have a lot of new like fun things that I'm working on and Next week I'm gonna do something super fun. If you want to like know more about my daily life, make sure to watch my vlogs. This week I'm filming a new weekly vlog, so that should be up sometime next week, I think. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, make sure to rate the podcast and leave a review if you want. I think you could leave a review. And then on Spotify, I usually have a little Q&A box where you can send something in, whatever I've asked you down there. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and listening and being here with me. I love you, and I will see you in the next episode.